From Game of Thrones to the ancient temples of Asia, one creature rules our imagination. But what if I told you that the secret to understanding this beast isn't in its fire or its scales, but in the climate and the geography of our ancient world? How can this same creature be a divine symbol of luck and wisdom in one half of the world, and a demonic monster of pure evil in the other? What happened in history to create this great divide? In the next 40 minutes, we will decode the dragon Enigma. We'll travel back to its forgotten origins, uncover its sacred role in the East, confront its terrifying form in the West, and for the first time, reveal the historical and cultural forces that fractured its identity. Before a dragon could become a god or a monster, it first had to be born in the human mind. So where did this universal, impossible idea come from? The answer isn't one, but three fascinating possibilities hidden in the very earth beneath our feet and in the deepest corners of our ancestral memory. Our first clue takes us deep into the earth. For centuries, massive, unidentifiable bones were unearthed across the globe. In 4th century China, the historian Chang Kui described finding dragon bones in Sichuan. To the ancient Greeks, the unearthed skeletons of Protoceratops in the Gobi Desert with their beaks and frills became the foundation for the griffin. Without the knowledge of geology or evolution, how else could our ancestors explain these colossal reptilian remains? The conclusion was as logical as it was fantastic. They were the bones of dragons. But fossils can't explain everything. What if the dragon wasn't dug from the ground, but was assembled in the darkest parts of our minds, from our deepest, most primal fears? Imagine our earliest ancestors. Their world was filled with lethal predators: the venomous snake from below, the powerful feline predator on land, and the sharp-taloned bird of prey from above. Evolutionary psychologists suggest that the human brain merged these separate threats into one ultimate super predator, a creature with the body of a serpent, the claws of an eagle, and the ferocity of a great cat: a dragon. We have a creature born from bones and a creature born from fear. But our third theory suggests the dragon was born from a story so ancient it became the blueprint for countless myths. Scholars call it the Chaos Kampf, the divine struggle against chaos. It's the tale of a heroic god battling a monstrous sea serpent, a creature representing the primordial, untamed ocean. We see it in Babylon, with Marduk slaying Tiamat; in Norse myth, with Thor fighting Jormungandr; in Greece, with Zeus defeating Typhon. This single powerful story motif spread with migrating peoples, and over millennia, the sea serpent of chaos evolved into the dragon we know today. So the dragon has no single origin. It is a creature born of fossilized bones, of primal fear, and of our oldest, most epic story. Now that we understand where it might have come from, we can begin to explore what it became. Our journey takes us first to the east, where the dragon ascended from a creature into a god. In the West, the dragon was a force to be conquered. But in the East, it was a force to be revered. Here, the dragon is not a monster of chaos, but a divine architect of the natural world. It is a composite creature, not of fear, but of fortune, combining the features of the 9 most auspicious animals. With the body of a serpent, the scales of a carp, the claws of an eagle, and the horns of a stag, the Eastern dragon is a symbol of ultimate harmony and power. Nowhere is the dragon more revered than in China. Here it is known as the Lóng. The Lóng is a master of water, dwelling in rivers, lakes, and oceans, and commanding the rains, floods, and typhoons. Because of this control over the most vital element for an agricultural society, the dragon became synonymous with divine authority. This authority was eventually co-opted by the emperor, who became known as the Son of Heaven. The dragon became his exclusive symbol. His throne was the dragon throne. His robes were the dragon robes, and his face was the dragon face. The 5-clawed golden dragon was a symbol so powerful that any commoner who dared to use it would face certain death. The Long's influence permeates all of Chinese culture, even through its mythical children. The 9 sons of the dragon were 9 different offspring, each with its own unique form and personality, whose images were used to decorate everything from temple bells and bridges to swords and tombs. But perhaps the most mysterious element is the dragon pearl. Often depicted under the dragon's chin or in its claws, this flaming pearl is a symbol of wisdom, spiritual energy, and power. To possess it is to possess enlightenment itself. Moving south, the dragon takes on an even more profound and intimate role. In Vietnam, the Loc Long Quan, or the Dragon Lord of Loc, is the nation's founding father. According to the grand creation myth, he was a dragon prince from the sea, who married a fairy princess from the mountains, O Ker. Their union produced 100 children, the ancestors of the Vietnamese people. This story isn't just a myth, it is the very soul of the nation, establishing the Vietnamese as the Con Rong, Chao Tien, children of the dragon, grandchildren of the fairies. Here, the dragon is not a distant symbol of power, but a direct, cherished ancestor. This ancestral connection is reflected in Vietnamese art. The dragon's form evolved through the dynasties, each telling a story. The Li dynasty dragon was soft and serpentine, a symbol of benevolent monarchy and Buddhist grace, often holding the precious pearl in its mouth. Later, under the Chern dynasty, after repelling Mongol invasions, it became more ferocious, a symbol of a nation hardened by war and determined to protect its independence. The Vietnamese dragon is a living chronicle, a history of the people written in the form of their most sacred ancestor. The dragon's influence spread across the seas. In the island nation of Japan, the Ryu is a powerful sea god, or kami, a master of the ocean's storms and tides. Often depicted with only 3 claws, the Japanese dragon is a formidable deity of nature. Meanwhile, in Korea, the Yong shares many traits with its Chinese counterpart, but also has its own unique legends, like that of the Imugi, lesser dragons or giant serpents, who must endure great trials for 1,000 years to finally ascend and become a true dragon, earning their sacred pearl. So we have journeyed across the east and seen the dragon as a divine creator, a cherished ancestor, and a powerful force of nature. But in the other half of the world, a completely opposite story was being written. If you're finding this journey of discovery fascinating, make sure you've subscribed and turned on notifications, because next we will confront a very different dragon, a monster of fire, greed, and destruction. We now cross the world, from a realm of divine architects to a land of shadow and fear. If the Eastern dragon was a symbol of harmony with nature, the Western dragon became the symbol of nature as a chaotic force to be conquered. It is not a god, but an adversary, not a bringer of rain, but a bringer of fire. Its body, no longer serpentine and graceful, becomes a thick, brutish fortress of impenetrable scales and leathery wings. It represents the ultimate challenge for humanity's heroes. Perhaps the most enduring image of the Western dragon is that of a hoarder, a miser of untold treasures. This archetype is rooted deep in Germanic and Norse mythology, in the tale of Fafnir. He was a dwarf prince who, consumed by a cursed golden ring, murdered his own father and transformed into a monstrous dragon to guard his stolen treasure. Hundreds of years later, this myth of the gold-hoarding dragon would be immortalized by scholar J.R.R. Tolkien in his masterpiece, The Hobbit, with the magnificent and terrifying Smaug. For these dragons, gold is not a tool, but an obsession. It corrupts, and the dragon becomes the ultimate symbol of greed incarnate, a treasure that must be liberated by a hero. Beyond greed, the Western dragon was branded with a far more sinister identity, the embodiment of evil itself. With the rise of Christianity, the dragon's image merged with that of the serpent in the Garden of Eden and the great red dragon of the Apocalypse, becoming a physical manifestation of Satan. The most famous legend cementing this idea is the tale of St. George and the dragon. In this story, a town is terrorized by a venomous dragon demanding human sacrifices. St. George, a Christian knight, arrives, defeats the beast in the name of God, and the entire town converts to Christianity. The story is a powerful allegory. St. George is the champion of Christ, the town is humanity, and the dragon is paganism, heresy, and the devil. Slaying the dragon was no longer about winning treasure, it was about destroying evil and saving souls. And yet, a paradox remains. If the dragon was the ultimate symbol of evil, why did kings, nobles, and knights proudly display it on their banners and coats of arms? From the Red Dragon of Wales to the crests of Europe's most powerful families, the dragon also became a symbol of ferocious power and unconquerable strength. To put a dragon on your shield was a warning. To face me is to face the unstoppable fury of the greatest beast imaginable. It was a monster, yes, but its power was a force to be respected and even harnessed. A god in the East, a monster in the West. We've seen the two faces of the dragon. Now we must ask the ultimate question: why? The answer is not simple, but lies at the intersection of geography, politics, and faith. First, geography. The great civilizations of the East were cradled by rivers and dependent on monsoon rains. Rain was life. The dragon, as a master of water, naturally became a benevolent god. In Europe's harsher, more mountainous terrain, caves and jagged peaks were seen as lairs for dangerous beasts. Nature was an adversary to be tamed, and the dragon became its ultimate symbol. Then politics. In the East, emperors unified vast empires under a single divine mandate. The dragon became the perfect symbol for this absolute heavenly authority. In the West, a more fractured landscape of competing kingdoms, a hero's legend was the ultimate currency. Kings and knights legitimized their rule not by being dragons, but by slaying them, proving they could conquer chaos and protect their people. And finally, philosophy. Eastern thoughts like Taoism emphasize balance and harmony, the yin and yang. The dragon was part of this natural balance. But the rise of Christianity in the West introduced a stark dualism of absolute good versus absolute evil. In this New World Order, there was no room for morally ambiguous monsters. The dragon, once a powerful pagan symbol, was demonized, cast as the literal serpent of Satan, an enemy to be utterly destroyed. Today, in our interconnected world, the dragon is being reborn once more. In pop culture, the line between East and West has begun to blur. The dragons of Game of Thrones, while terrifying weapons of war, are also the beloved children of their queen, showing a capacity for loyalty and connection. The character of Toothless from How to Train Your Dragon completes the transformation, turning the ultimate Viking adversary into humanity's best friend. These modern dragons are complex. They are intelligent, sometimes benevolent, sometimes terrifying, blending the ferocity of the West with the wisdom and potential for good from the East. Perhaps our modern world, no longer needing a monster to represent untamed nature or a god to explain the rain, is now free to see the dragon for what it has always been, a powerful symbol of duality, a creature of terrifying power, but also of profound wisdom and majesty, the ultimate legend, forever being decoded. So, we have traveled from the fossil beds of ancient Earth to the farthest reaches of human imagination. We've seen the dragon born from bone, from fear, and from our oldest stories. We've seen it ascend to godhood in the East and been cast down as a demon in the West. We have witnessed its rebirth in our modern world as a creature of immense complexity. Through all these transformations, one thing has remained constant. The dragon has always been a mirror. It reflects not what the world was, but what we believed it to be. It reflects our relationship with nature, a force to harmonize with, or a wilderness to be conquered. It reflects our vision of power, a divine mandate from heaven, or a heroic triumph over chaos. Most of all, it reflects ourselves, our greatest hopes, our darkest fears, our infinite capacity for creation. The dragon may not be real, but it is, and always will be, true. Our journey decoding the dragon is complete, but the world of legends is endless. What mythical beast should we decode next? The Skylord Griffin? The deep-sea terror Kraken? Or the immortal Phoenix? Let us know in the comments below. Your vote will decide our next adventure. If you learned something new, please like this video. And to ensure you don't miss our next journey into the untold stories, make sure you subscribe to Epic Legends Decoded. Thank you for watching.